Welcome back, everybody. My name is Poison Ducky, and this is going to be another Total War Warhammer 2 replay. This time playing as the Dawi, a community member, Mr. Stormrunner, sent us a replay versus the Mighty High Elves, manned by Finisher. Now, I'd had a little joke on one of my YouTube thumbnails where I made fun of newer players, saying, is Dwarves a rush faction? Because, of course, they really aren't, although there's a possibility to play that way, and this is a presentation on how to do so. Now, we're going to have a Vanguard deployment of Rangers with great weapons and the Regiment of Renown, Ulthuar's Raiders. Now, this unit has a Missile Resist debuff along with an Armor Sunder and a Missile Parry debuff, so if you do not have armor-piercing projectiles, bring Ulthuar's Rangers, in which case makes sense if you have a core of Ranger with great weapons. You've got some Longbeard with great weapons. It's very obvious that Mr. Stormrunner is very expecting some White Line or Swordmaster of Hoeth play, so he has Miners with blasting charges just in case he brings some spears, and Longbeards with great weapons to deal with armor piercing. Of course, the High Elves would be missing something if they didn't bring any cavalry or dragons, so he brings Slayers and a pretty strong core of the Grumbling Guard along with Hammers. So he has an elite core, with his leadership being Ungrim Iron Fist, a Thane, which is an interesting pick as he doesn't really have armor piercing, and a Rune Smith. So that's a pretty cool build. Very aggressive, very low missiles, and the missiles are low armor and high speed. So, how does the opponent go against this? Well, this is going to be a pretty normal anti-dwarf build, White Lions of Trace being very common in this matchup of the High Elves versus Dwarves, along with 2 units of Dragon Princes. Now, Dragon Princes aren't armor piercing, so while they are very high damage with their amazing charge bonus of 40 and amazing stats at 44 and 42 attack and defense, they at least will take a little time going through the armor of the Dwarves. The opponent did bring 3 units of Archers, as Archers are just a failsafe, just in case the opponent goes with Rangers, and they're actually a really good counter against Rangers, in my opinion. But with the armies out of the way, wait just 1 second, the opponent, of course, you can't go wrong with the High Elves with the triple chariot. Sorry, it's the double chariot. It's 2 nobles on a chariot. We've seen it millions of times, along with Ilario the Radiant, which will probably pop on a Star of Avalon, heal the thing, and it'll be very fun. So we're going to start the match with the debuff that decreases missile parry armor and missile resistance, and we're going to start chucking those amazing armor-piercing projectiles at the White Lions. Now, these are the great weapon, so they do not chuck usually. They don't have the normal crossbows like normal Rangers, but they instead throw axes, very similar to the throwing axe weapons on either Marauders or Centaurs, and the frontline engagement is going to start. Now, it's going to be Longbeards versus White Lions. I believe the Longbeards should have an advantage as long as they last long, because if you last a while, the martial prowess of the White Lions will fight it away, and the Longbeards will definitely win in that long engagement. Now, the flanks are going okay with the Dragon Princes going onto the right flank, but a very great play by Stormrunner. Dragonback Slayers are there to heed the call, along with the leadership group fanning through and squishing the Dragon Princes as best as they can. Now, the Dragonback Slayers don't have armor piercing, which is kind of an issue, especially against Dragon Princes, but the anti-large bonus they get should do just great. A great play by the opponent High Elf player, getting a rear charge into the Rangers, which is very dangerous for the Ranger play here, as Rangers have almost no armor, and that's one of the few units that Dragon Princes are. But there are Slayers mixed in with the Rangers, which is a very good thing for the Dwarves. Now, the Miners with blasting charges are probably in a bad spot here. They really have nothing to throw their charges at except Archers, but Archers are in the back line, and it's very hard to lob the charges any further than what feels like 3 feet. And there goes the first Star of Avalon going off. It's going to heal the Dragon Princes. That's where the High Elves gain most of their value in a match. And because of that, the balance of power is actually going to be in the High Elf favor. Now, back to the Dragon Prince versus Slayers matchup. Even though you see anti-large unit and a armored unit versus, they trade actually fairly well, but of course the Slayers are unbreakable and will fight longer, while the Dragon Princes will probably rout away eventually. unless they get healed by Alariel. Now, a little poor microing mistake by Mr. Finisher. He's not sending over his White Lions to pressure his Ulthuar's Raiders, and instead losing his Dragon Princes, which is not great, because Ulthuar Raiders are just standing there, just happy doodly-doo, the Dawi drinking their kegs of beer, while the Dawi become a resurgence of their units. Now, the Leadership Corps is chasing over Alariel the Radiant. And Alariel is actually taking quite a beating, but it's those chariots that really scare me. And Overcasted Earth Blooded is going to hurt, actually, Ariel, but she's going to heal it back with the spell effect. Now, it's an interesting. This guy seems to be very, very important. He's using the Dragon Princess to cycle charge right hammer and anvil the hammers, which is a fantastic play. But this opponent needs to be sending in his White Lions, and he needs to be focus firing with the archers into the low armor rangers. But this Leadership Corps of Thane, Ungrim, and the Runesmith is going to be a menace. It's really having a hard time. I don't think anything in this army can kill them without sufficient cycle charging from Dragon Princes. Ungrim may be an anti-large specialist, but Ungrim also has the ability to kill infantry with really no regard. Now, the White Lions are finally starting to surge forward as the opponent begins to remember, hey, I should actually use these units. And the Dragon Princes doing what they should have been doing the entire time, charging into Ulthuar's Raiders. The balance of power is slowly but surely ebbing in the favor of the High Elves. Just a tad more every time the Dragon Princes charge into the Raiders. Now, there are some spread around Rangers throwing their axes away into White Lions and the Dragon Princes, but this is the huge block fight, everybody. 4 units of White Lions trying to fight against a unit of just Ungrim, and it's literally just leadership versus 4 units. My goodness. And because all of the low health on the High Elf units here, they are losing their martial prowess, meaning their stats quite terrible. Not very good at all. 36-24 for the price you pay for White Lions. Yeah, they're not fantastic. And it's going to be a pretty close match so far. I would say another Heart of Avalorn. This is a fantastic positioning by the High Elf. It's going to heal so many units at once, and these Dwarven you just need to hold on with just some support from Slayers, which are not going to last well. They don't have a very good matchup against White Lions. Look at how much health. All this health back on all these models, but Alariel the Radiant actually gets she just gets crumped by Thorgrim, smacking her straight in the face, and that leadership is going to be very, very good at breaking off the High Elves, as you see some units breaking off, and it's going to be kind of like a pseudo terror route as everyone gets lower and lower every time a Dwarf swings their axe. Now, in terms of infantry and forces for the Dwarves, it's really just the leadership. We've got some Grumbling Guard that are very low, 11 leadership. We've got a few Rangers with great weapons, but most of their ammunition is spent. This one is a little off in the distance. He could be throwing into the crowd, and that's what they're going to do, getting themselves into position, throwing the axes that they have left. But looking at the health of Ungrim, he's at, I would say a third of his health left, and I don't see how the High Elves will actually be able to kill them. They've gotten rid of these chariots, they've gotten rid of the White Lions and Alariel. Only thing left are Dragon Princes. The opponent's going to essentially have to cycle charge over and over again into Ungrim and this Leadership Corps, but the Leadership Corps is going to get a strike back, and because of the low leadership from the death of Alariel, the Dragon Princes are actually going to rat off the battlefield, leaving only archers left, and Ungrim Iron Fist has 120 armor, as you see here. So, and just the armor-piercing projectiles of the archers are really not going to be able to deal with this. Everything left, with the exception of the Rangers, has so much armor. The Grumbling Guard trying to get into the backs of the archers, but they're on guard mode and will fire unimpeded. And it's essentially just going to be the grind. The balance of power is actually back into the Dwarves' favor, and this is a comeback from the ages. The Dawi are there's no need for a grudge to be written today because the Dwarves will win. Well, maybe otherwise than the many Dwarves that lost their lives. I guess that is a grudge. But balance of power in the favor of the Dwarves as the archers run out of ammo, and ammo has a huge contingency in the balance of power. So he's just literally running this small elite core of 3 units. Imagine if Gotrek was in here. It would be a fantastic little fight. But I think that's going to be it for the High Elf forces as we get some cinematics of these powerful dwarves just killing everything they get their hands on. Even the runesmith. Although the runesmith does not have good stats, he has armor, and archers can't deal with that. And Ungrim Ironfist is just going to smack. Oh, look at that kick. Smacking like 10 white lions. And a good smack right there, Thane. But they have nothing left. And I believe that's going to start the chain route from army losses, and the White Lions and the High Elves will lose this battle to Ungrim Ironfist and his small core of powerful dwarf leadership. Actually, the engineer all the way over there, you see him? He's run coat, but you know, Ungrim Ironfist is unbreakable. And because of that alone, wow, look how little health he has left. But he has the Red Ruin increasing his weapon damage, decreasing melee defense. Oh man, if Alariel or the Chariots were still here, that would be devastating. But that's why you use it now. So you can kill all the archers and make sure the army losses gets in. I'm going to little fast forward here because it's essentially just a grind of just Ungrim Ironforce smacking units. And that's going to be the end of the game. My goodness, was that an experience. Now, there it is. There it is. Just took a little bit. Now let's look at the unit stats. Ungrim Ironfist, no brainer, being the monster with 133 kills. And I think the Raiders really did their job. They threw their axes and dealt quite a bit of damage to the Dragon Princes, although the Dragon Princes did get squished by Slayers, which is just about the worst thing you can do in the Dwarven matchup, other than get shot up by like handgunners or thunderers, right? Now, the Hammerers did all right, 42. They just didn't pay for themselves against the White Lions. It's the healing power of Alariel the Radiant. The Star of Avalorn is just so powerful, especially in that blob of White Lions, healing all of them back up like that. If it wasn't for the death of Alariel, that would have been a disaster, and I think the Dwarves would have lost that. So kudos to Stormrunner. Thanks for sending in the replay. I love that he made a rush build right after I sent the thumbnail of our dwarves a rush faction. So he went with it. Now I just need to see a Norglemling Ironbringer Ranger Miner rush faction. Now that would be something special. Now, thanks for sending the replay, Stormrunner. Guys, if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe if you want more. I'll catch you guys later.